Just 90 miles from the glitz and glamour of Miami lies an island frozen in time. A place with no multi-billion-dollar sports science centers, no high-tech recovery cryochambers, and no celebrity trainers charging thousands an hour. Yet, this small, isolated island has engineered one of the most terrifying, dominant, and enigmatic dynasties in boxing history. In a sport celebrated for its brutal knockouts and toe-to-toe wars, Cuba mastered a different, more haunting science. The art of seeing everything and being seen by no one. They don't just win fights. They systematically dismantle the confidence of world-class elite fighters, making them look like amateurs in front of millions. How did this nation, banned from professional boxing for over 60 years, create an assembly line of fighting ghosts? What are the secretive mechanics that make their movement virtually impossible to track? And is the rest of the world finally learning how to catch them? This is the science, the hardship, and the brutal brilliance behind the Cuban takeover of the sweet science. To understand the phantom-like movement of a Cuban boxer, you have to understand where the system was forged. Its astery born from necessity, geopolitical tension, and a touch of Cold War genius. In the 1960s, following the revolution, professional sports were banned in Cuba. Boxing became an ideological tool. Enter Soviet master coach Andrei Chervenenko. He brought a rigorous, scientific, and methodical approach to the island. The Soviets brought the structure, but Cuba provided the rhythm and the passion. They didn't just learn to fight, they learned to dance under pressure. While Western fighters were prioritizing power and strength training, Cuban coaches were obsessing over biomechanics and neuromuscular efficiency. They didn't care how hard you could hit if you couldn't land the punch. Their students were trained, barefoot, on heavy beach sand to build explosive calf strength and perfect balance. They didn't just train to become fighters, they trained to become fighting architects who controlled space and time. Now let's break down the actual physics. Why do elite professional champions, guys with 30-0 records, look so helpless? It's not magic, it's mathematics. The secret lies in two core concepts: distance management and unseen angles. Western boxing often focuses on a straight line, forward and back. Cuban boxing operates on circles. Look at their footwork. They don't just step away from a punch, they use the Cuban pivot. As you throw your best shot, they rotate 45 degrees on their lead foot. In a microsecond, you are punching empty air, and they have vanished from your field of vision, standing right beside you, ready to counter. This creates a psychological trap. A Cuban fighter is always just out of range. You feel like you can hit them, so you throw. You miss. You try again. You miss again. By round 5, your shoulders are full of lactic acid. Your mind is exhausted from solving a puzzle that keeps changing, and you are ready to quit. They don't have to knock you out. They steal your will to fight. The system produced legends, but they were divided by geography. For decades, the greatest boxers on the planet were amateurs who refused millions to turn pro, loyal to their island. Men like the legendary Teófilo Stevenson, a 3-time Olympic heavyweight gold medalist. The world begged for a super fight between him and Muhammad Ali. Stevenson simply asked, "What is $1 million compared to the love of 8 million Cubans?" Then you had Félix Savon, another 3-time Olympic king who dominated the heavyweight division with terrifying ease. But when the system clashed with professional boxing, it created phantoms. Look at Guillermo, the Jackal Rigondeaux. A defensive genius so pure that opponents literally refused to fight him because he made them look amateurish. Or Yordenis Ugás, who used his complete mastery of Cuban distance and timing to dismantle the legendary Manny Pacquiao on just 11 days' notice. And now, a new wave of Cuban talent like David Morrell Jr. is proving that the system can evolve, combining that phantom movement with devastating professional power. To truly appreciate this system, you have to look at the ultimate stylistic clash: American fighting versus Cuban boxing. The American school of boxing is built for professional entertainment. It prioritizes forward pressure, explosive power, and toe-to-toe exchanges that get fans off their seats. It's about dominance, damage, and highlight reel knockouts. The Cuban school operates on a completely different philosophy. To a Cuban coach, getting into a slugfest isn't brave, it's a tactical failure. While the American fighter relies on athleticism and power to overpower you, the Cuban fighter relies on geometry, timing, and patience to frustrate you. One wants to break your body, the other wants to break your mind. When these two worlds collide, it's a battle between brute force and pure intellect. What makes the modern Cuban wave even more terrifying for the current boxing landscape is that the ghosts are learning how to sting. The criticism of the early Cuban pro wave was that their style was too pure, too defensive, and not entertaining for a pro audience. The new generation has adapted. Fighters like David Morrell Jr. are retaining that defensive invisibility but are adding ruthless, professional power and aggression. They aren't just trying to win on points anymore. They are closing the distance and finishing fights. It is no longer just unboxable. It is unboxable and dangerous. Every missing punch from the opponent sets up a devastating, unseen counterpunch. From the humble, dusty rings of Havana to the pinnacle of Las Vegas main events, Cuban boxing has permanently rewritten the rules of the sweet science. Coaches around the world are now flying in Cuban masters, studying tape frame by frame, trying to replicate a system built on decades of cultural heritage and struggle. But replicating a technique is one thing. Replicating the mindset of a ghost is another. The question remains, has the boxing world finally found a mechanical counter to Cuban pressure, or are we about to witness a new dynasty that will haunt combat sports for generations to come? What do you think is the best style to defeat a prime Cuban master? Is it relentless pressure, an equally elite jab, or something brand new? Let me know your technical breakdowns in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into boxing history and strategy, hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe for more technical fight breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next main event.